here in 2015. Chip and Joe back upstairs here at Marlins Park. What a year for the Braves in the offseason. Just 6 players remained on the opening day roster from last year. 12 trades, Joe. Can you remember a time where the Braves have had this much roster turnover?
No, I don't remember it at all. Chip, sounds like the Jets were a little late, but that's okay. The fact that everybody keeps talking about a retooling, a revamping. No, this was a complete overhaul. When you've only got 6 players back from last year, that's quite a difference in one season. Take a look at some of these new names. A lot of veterans in there, and guys like Jason Grilli, who now will be the guy at the end of the ball game, have made a marked improvement and have made their mark in the clubhouse with some of these younger players. They are welcome additions.
Great opportunity, great turnover, and for Freddie Gonzalez, great fun. So he says as he chatted with Jen Hildreth earlier today.
Well, Freddie, I think the number that stands out is 6. That's the number of guys on this year's opening day roster that were on last year's opening day roster. For you as a manager, what kind of opportunities and challenges does a roster like this present?
It's fun. It really was fun spring training right from the very beginning, and I think that and one reason it was fun, there was opportunities, you know, and when you have opportunity, you have competition, it creates a little different energy. We bring a totally different dynamic of a club offensively anyway. To the 2015 season, you're going to see some stuff. You know, you got to see some guys get in motion. You know, maybe squeeze, do the safety squeeze, just to get some runs. But from what I saw in spring training, we really did a nice job cutting down on strikeouts.
Now my question will be a little more specific after yesterday's news.
I couldn't believe it took you this long to ask that question.
I know, I waited, right? Well, you know, for the last 4 years, it hasn't been a question. You have a 1-run lead in the 9th. Now with Craig Kimbrel gone, who do you go to in that situation?
Well, we got 2 good options. We really do. We got Jim Johnson and we got Jason Grilli. We're going to go. We talked to both of those guys this morning, Roger and I, and we're going to go with Jason Grilli. And the only reason is because Jim Johnson gives a different dynamic in the middle of the game where he could go an inning in the 3rd or inning in 2/3 and be able to do that and withstand that. But you know what? I feel confident in both. You know, obviously we lost the best closer in baseball for the last 3 or 4 years, arguably, and it was nice to be able to manage the game and be able to know that he's got the 9th. You know what? I'm still going to do it the same way. You know, you got Jason Grilli, who's done it in a pennant chase for the Pirates. Jim Johnson is not too far removed from back-to-back 50 save seasons. So, you know, the way you go about it might be a little different, but you feel confident that those 2 guys could do the job.
Great to hear from you, Freddie. Thanks.
Thank you.
Chip.
Ready? All right, Jen. So, Joe, let's analyze the Braves pitching staff. Here are the 12 guys Freddie's breaking with camp.
Well, Shelby Miller was a great addition with the deal coming over from the Cardinals for Jason Hayward. And actually, Alex Wood is looking to really step up this year after really, I think, getting his feet firmly planted in the big leagues last year. He knows what it takes. Stoltz and Cahill were good additions to the back of the rotation until Mike Minor comes back. If there's a question mark right now, and this kind of permeates through the whole ball club, it's the middle relief. It's not Grilli, it's not Johnson, it's the guys between the starters and those guys. And there are some candidates certainly who have a chance to step up and make a name for themselves. We'll see how that turns out, because that's a worrisome problem right now.
4 rookies in the bullpen, too. We'll see how that works out for the Braves, who have emphasized a unique and new style of play. A new look offense. Braves are featuring small ball. And Freddie Freeman and others will talk about that with you when we come back to Miami after this. Freddie Freeman and the Braves are ready to go with a new look offense at the start of this young season.
In my opinion, we're kind of built like the Royals a little bit more this year. You know, we don't have a lot of guys that will hit the ball at the ballpark. We have a lot of guys that make contact and don't strike out as much. A lot of speed guys that put pressure on the bases. And I think that's, you know, obviously we had this lineup in 2013 that did really well, and we had pretty much the same one last year, and it didn't work out. So we're doing a different lineup this year. So hopefully we were able to put pressure on the defense a little bit more and produce some more runs this year.
Your thoughts on what you saw from the Braves bats this spring?
I don't really think about it as small ball. I think it is a bunch of guys that know how to play. They know how to put the ball in play. They know how to hit in different counts. And I think you're going to see a very exciting brand of baseball, one that's fun to watch.
Now, the most important question. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's get it started. Opening day is ready to go. Starting lineups, Braves and Marlins. Let's get it going. We're live from Marlins Park. Time to play ball in South Florida next. Gonzalez told me this spring a chance to be the most flexible batting 9 he's had since he's managed the Braves. Eric Young Jr. leads off. He's the center fielder. Jace Peterson, the rookie, will bat and play second. Markakis in right. Freddie Freeman, the cleanup man, played every game for the Braves last year. Christian Bethancourt had a good spring. He's hitting fifth. Kelly Johnson platooning with Johnny Gomes in left field. Alberto Callaspo gets the start at third base. Andrelton Simmons eighth. Julio Teheran will pitch and bat ninth. And he'll face Marlins right-hander Henderson Alvarez, who gets the ball on opening day for the Fish.
Henderson Alvarez had a good year last year for the Fish. He's almost 25 years old, 6 feet 205 out of Venezuela. This is his 4th year in the big leagues. These are his numbers from last year. A 2.65 ERA was 6th best in the National League. His home ERA was even better. He was 7-2 in this ballpark with a 1.60 ERA. That was the best home ERA in the major leagues. Throws hard, good hard sinker, and he actually has a hard changeup too. It's only about 4 or 5 miles an hour off his fastball, but a good hard fastball, sinks, changeup, and a slider.
With that sinker, he will rely on a much improved Marlins defense this year. And they too have a lot of new names on their infield. Michael Morse will be a marked improvement over Garrett Jones at first base. Our old pal Martin Prado's their starting third baseman. Dee Gordon came over from the Dodgers. He can fly. Some say, Joe, the Marlins have the best young outfield in the major leagues with Yelich, Ozuna, and of course Giancarlo Stanton in right.
Yeah, arguably the best defensive outfield in the game. All of them are center fielder types. They all have good arms.
And of course, the benefit for a guy like Henderson Alvarez is a chance to, as you said, pitch in this gigantic ballpark. What a great place to pitch, and those numbers you mentioned a moment ago prove the point. He is ideally suited to pitch here at Marlins Park.
Yeah, he only gave up 14 home runs last year in 187 innings, and a lot of that due to the vastness of this ballpark. That's 418 with a high wall and straightaway center. A lot of empty seats here today, though. Chip, I thought this city would be on its ear for all the improvements they made in their club.
But a larger than normal crowd when the Braves take on the Marlins here in South Florida. So we're ready to go. Eric Young Jr. is going to lead things off. Those are his numbers as you see. Homer, 17 RBIs, stole 30 bases, and scored 48 runs in 100 games last year. So we'll see what he has in store for us to start the game against Alvarez. Underway with a quick strike to Young. Dee Gordon's first chance. And there's the sinker ball at work. Young grounds out, and we're underway in Miami.
One of the things about Alvarez, too, were the batting average against him on various pitches. First pitch, if you go up there looking for a good pitch to hit, you're probably going to get one because he likes to get ahead. He's a sinker baller, wants to be ahead in the count, get you to chase his pitch. First pitch numbers, 338 average against him.
So here's your first look at Jace Peterson, a man who came over from the Padres, and he had a great spring and really impressed the Braves coaching staff with the way he plays the game, the way he handled himself in the locker room, and obviously his spring numbers. And he has the first hit. So Peterson has the first hit of the year, and he's aboard in front of Nick Markakis.
What a great start for him in a Braves uniform. He's built a little bit like Grady Sizemore. He used to be with the Indians, now with the Phillies. Strong former football player. Braves fans are going to love Jace Peterson.
So Nick Markakis gets his first at bat as a Brave. You'll recall Nick had off-season neck surgery, and there was some concern he wouldn't be ready for opening day. He said he was 95% sure he would play a couple of days ago. Well, it's 100%. He's in after just 25 at bats in regular game action down in Orlando.
It's not very often that you start a season and your first 3 hitters were not with your ball club last year. That's what's cool about Eric Young Jr. and Kelly Johnson being in the lineup today. They came to camp on minor league contracts and made the club.
And Alvarez balked. So Peterson will move to second on a balk.
See what he did here. It was probably from not pausing long enough. It was just kind of one continuous move.
So Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire, spotted that right away. And Markakis, now an even count. A lot of eyebrows were raised with the Braves' turnover in roster that they signed Nick Markakis. 4-year contract. He signed through 2018. And he's got a shot up the middle for a hit. Here comes Peterson around third. Ozuna loads up. His throw to the plate hits off the base of the mound. And Nick Markakis puts the Braves in front with back-to-back singles. It's 1-0 here in the first.
Welcome to the Braves, boys. Base hit, balk, capitalizing with some clutch hitting. Nick Markakis, as Jen said earlier, only Ichiro has played in more games in the outfield and has more hits than Nick Markakis over the last 5 years. The guy's a player.
So back-to-back hits with 1 out. Braves lead by a run, and here's Freddie Freeman. And to say Freddie Freeman, Joe, owes the Marlins some payback, I think, is a dramatic understatement.
Yeah, it was a rough year for him here. Hit just 135 against the Fish last year.
And 288 overall for the season. And a big cut. And that's skied out of play to the left. 1 ball, 1 strike.
310 against everybody else. Wasn't there a stretch where he was like 1 for 40?
44, 1 for 47, some crazy number like that. Let's take care of that here in the top of the first. Little dribbler toward first. Mike Morse will make the play. Markakis at second with 2 outs. So Christian Bethancourt, Braves catcher, hitting 5th for Atlanta. Christian had a good spring at the plate. A couple of nagging injuries sidelined him to a certain degree. Had a little knee problem, had a flu problem, and had 2 teeth.
Yeah, right. It was not what he had hoped in terms of playing time and at bats.
Big cut. Fouled in front of the Marlins dugout.
This is an interesting lineup, I think, today, Chip. I know it's the first day, but already signs of Freddie trying to utilize guys in their on-base percentage, getting on base in front of Freddie, having a little bit of protection here for Christian Bethancourt behind Freddie, trying to figure out who that's going to be during the course of the year. But the 3 guys at the top, all high on-base percentage, they're hoping ahead of Freeman.
Markakis big lead, bouncing ball, Prado at third, backhand stab, and the long throw to first in plenty of time. 5 Braves hit, 1 score. Julio Teheran has a lead as we head to the home first. Nick Markakis with an RBI single. Here's a look at the Marlins batting order. Academy Sports and Outdoors presents that. This is a deep and effective lineup. A lot of speed at the top with Gordon Yelich. You know about Giancarlo Stanton, led the league in homers last year. Mike Morse will protect him. Martin Prado will bat 5th. Marcell Ozuna hit 23 homers last year in center field. Then Jared Saltalamacchia, Adeiny Hechavarria, and Henderson Alvarez. They will face Brave starter Julio Teheran.
Here's Julio's numbers from a year ago. Made all his starts, pitched over 200 innings, had a tremendous year, 14-13. 24 years old now, 6'2", 200 pounds. And lifetime 4-1 against Miami.
And this is the man you want to keep off the bases. Dee Gordon.
4 keys to pitching success for Julio Teheran today. Will be coming up shortly.
In the air to center. Young is there. And Gordon hits it in the air for out number 1.
I mentioned that he's 4-1 lifetime against Miami. That's pretty good fish hook for him. Last year he was 1-1 with a 2.70 ERA. Only walked 3 batters and struck out 29 in 26 innings against Miami. And also better road numbers. He's old enough now. He's been around long enough now to not let any road jitters get to him. Last year on the road he was 8-9, and his ERA 3.68, quite a bit higher than it was at home.
He'll face Christian Yelich, a star in the making in Miami. New long-term contract signed a couple of weeks ago. Yelich coming off a Gold Glove year last year where he hit .284. Made only 1 error. And is the first Marlins outfielder to ever win the Gold Glove. Well, what a great place to hit. Behind Gordon and in front of Stanton.
You'll see some fastballs when Gordon's on base, and you'll get better pitches to hit when he's ahead in the count, so they don't have to walk him ahead of Stanton. Yeah, the National League East is going to have to get used to seeing a lot of Christian Yelich. He's a terrific young player, and he's been given a long-term deal already.
Missed corner. Now 3 balls and a strike. Deep short. Simmons from the outfield grass loads and gets his man. Good result on a 3-1 count. Yelich grounds out for the second of the inning.
One of the nice things about any matchup between the Braves and the Marlins all year long, 19 times, this is the first of 19, is the matchup of arguably the best 2 shortstops in the National League, too, Simmons and Echeverria.
And here's the man of the hour, Giancarlo Stanton. He takes an inside corner strike. Stanton just 2 for 21 in his career against Julio Teheran. One of those hits, though, a homer. He had 37 last year. And signed that gigantic $300 million contract after being hit in the face last September.
He missed the last 2 weeks and still hit 37 long ones. Good fastball today from Julio. He's excited, too.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
First at bat of the season. You always want to get a hit that first at bat and get off to a good start. Feel good about what you did in spring training, or even if you had a bad spring, that first hit of the spring, or excuse me, the season. Always uplifting.
Taken low for a 4 count. Stanton, as you know, will take a walk. He took a bunch of them last year for the Marlins. 94, in fact. But he won't walk this time. Teheran blew him away with a fastball. 3 up, 3 down. Atlanta 1, Miami nothing after inning 1 in South Florida. Terry Pendleton's Most Valuable Player Award. On the 1991 season, TP back in his customary role as the Braves' first base coach. This is, as we mentioned a couple of times, the 50th anniversary of the Atlanta Braves. And all summer long, we'll be showing you flashbacks and video highlights and all those wonderful calls and wonderful memories of the first 49 seasons of this Atlanta franchise.
Yeah, fun stuff. Fun stuff to watch and reminisce about. I was talking to Terry before the game, and he said the meeting the players had this morning about the trade yesterday and starting the season today, he said they had me ready to go. They had me ready to play. I was ready to get out there and get after it because they were so excited and fired up.
Well, they got to be fired up with the way Tehran's pitching. He's set down the first 6. And he leads off the Atlanta third and takes a quick strike. As a player, and you were, when you read the preseason experts' picks for division titles, as Prado will handle at third base, World Series and the like, does that get you fired up when nobody gives you a whole lot of credit or a whole lot of opportunity to win? Like everybody in baseball saying the Braves are going to be maybe the next to worst team in baseball ahead of the Phillies.
Yeah, you take it personally. And I think these guys did during the spring. Nobody popped off. Nobody said anything. They just went about their business. And as a result, I think there were a lot of people, scouts included, who thought the Braves were going to be a sleeper type team because they were being overlooked. And if they can just stay the course offensively, keep doing little things right, then they've got a chance because of their good starting pitching.
Yeah, you pitch, you win usually.
And they've got a good defensive club too.
So we've gone through the lineup once. Eric Young rounded out to second, and he's going to bounce to first. Alvarez broke quickly off the mound and got there in time. He's starting to rack up the ground ball outs, which is his calling card. And 2 are away for Jace Peterson, who had a single and scored the first run for the Braves back in the opening inning.
The other side of it too, Chip, is not just doing the little things by moving runners, sacrifice flies, things like that, but more team speed. You saw Peterson go home to first on a solid single to center by Markakis in the first, and you're going to see Bo Porter waving guys all year. There might be a few thrown out at home, but they're going to take chances. They're going to try to take the extra base whenever they can because they have a lot of guys in the lineup that can run.
Peterson's one of them. He can steal a base for you if he has to. That's a little low. 2 balls, no strikes. Anderson Alvarez, a tough customer. This guy was at his best when Jose Fernandez went down last year. He went 7-2 from late May to early August for Miami. In fact, the Marlins won 10 of his starts in a row. And he gets Atlanta easily in inning number 3. 3 up, 3 down. Bottom part of the order coming up.
Told me this is the first time, and this is the 4th season in this ballpark. This is the first time they've ever had to deal with rain coming down inside, since they do have that retractable roof. They told me they do have a tarp for the field, but it's out in center field, so they couldn't really get out there to it as the rain was coming down. So these guys were hustling, carrying that dirt back and forth. Big thumbs up to them for working hard when they had to, right, guys?
The tarp is in center field?
Yep, on a roller is what I was told.
It would surprise me if Jeffrey Loria wasn't on the phone to Ed Mangan.
How do you this rain delay stuff?
It'd help.
I mean, didn't they bring any of the ground crew guys from Pro Player Stadium, where every time you went there you'd have 3 or 4 rain delays a series?
They just didn't think they'd need them.
Well, you know, the incomparable Jason Stark is going to have a field day with this. Who would have thought the first rain delay of the season comes in a retractable dome? But it was a 16-minute delay. No harm done to this point. Tehran's still crisp and sharp. He's got Jared Saltalamacchia behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
He's gone from 94 fastball to 71 off-speed pitch. Had Salty out on his front foot on that one.
Way upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tehran had a big year last year. Over 200 innings for the first time through 221 of them. Won 14 games. Had him tied up but missed. Full count.
Made the All-Star team. The only thing he'd like to do differently is probably the last month, but then so would the entire team.
Yes.
He was 1-4 his last 5 starts.
Full count pitch. is tipped and caught by Bethancourt, and Tehran has his third strikeout of the game. Jared Saltalamacchia fans.
Another fastball. He's got a good one and he's using it.
You mentioned too, Joe, back-to-back 14-win seasons for Tehran. 2013, Tehran got a little over 4 runs a game to play with. 4 runs of support. He won 14 games last year with a full run less of support. 3 more innings, 3 more strikeouts, et cetera, et cetera.
12th lowest run support in the National League.
Danny Echeverria next. And he's going to ground to Callasco. Tricky hop. And a high throw to first. Big wingspan for Freddie Freeman. Saved him a throwing error. And Tehran has set down the first 8.
We talk all the time about how Freddie Freeman saves the infielders a lot of errors because he's able to scoop balls in the dirt. Well, being 6'5" with those long arms helps haul in a few errant throws up high too.
So Alvarez bats. Marlins pitcher with a no-hitter on his resume. Final day of the season 2 years ago, he was standing in the on-deck circle when the Marlins scored a run in their last at-bat to earn him the no-hit bid. In other words, he pitched the top of the 9th, didn't give up the hit, and was ready to hit when a wild pitch made him a winner against the Tigers. No balls, 2 strikes. Popped up, long run Freeman. Markakis over near the wall and cannot get there. Do it again.
Alvarez was part of that huge deal between the Marlins and the Toronto Blue Jays 3 years ago.
And it was Mark Burley, Jose Reyes. All the big name Marlins went north, and the Marlins took a ton of heat for that trade. But boy, have they reaped the rewards of it. Echeverria, one of those performers, so's Alvarez. Balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Down the left field line, he hung a breaking ball, and that's the first Miami hit. So on an 0-2 pitch, Henderson Alvarez doubles into the left field corner.
Boy, it was a hanger. One that was kind of thrown at him, so it caused him to flinch and bail. Played right into him being able to hit it.
Alvarez didn't have an extra base hit last year. He's got his first extra base hit in his first at bat this year. So he's in scoring position for Dee Gordon. Gordon lined out to center his first time up. And takes a strike.
Stole 64 bases for the Dodgers.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Gordon didn't think so.
That was a hard late breaking slider. And he didn't read it and couldn't stop his swing. And the Braves may have caught a break there.
That's Corey Blazer at third base. Tehran's got him on a hook. 0-2. Little pop into left center field. That'll get down for a run scoring hit. Alvarez doubles and scores on a Gordon single. We're tied at 1.
You saw this happen a lot last year, Chip. Mistake pitches ahead in the count. This was 0-2. He was ahead in the count to Alvarez, who hit the double. couldn't make the pitch he needed to get out of the inning and prevent the run.
And just because there are 2 outs doesn't mean you're out of trouble. Here's a great matchup. The speed of Gordon versus Teheran's pickoff move and the arm of Bethancourt behind the plate. Not to mention Yelich in the box. He was leaning, and Teheran with that good pickoff move forced him back.
A lot of loose dirt over there on the infield now from that drying agent. Track should be fairly slow, but the way this guy can run, it may not make any difference.
Half-step bigger lead for Gordon. He's going. Pitch a ball. Bethancourt's throw. Got him. Perfect throw. The Braves win that matchup between Gordon and Teheran, but Miami ties the game at 1 in the 3rd.
Worked as good as a pitch out, fastball away, set up by the 2 moves over there to hold him close, and then a great throw by Bethancourt.
What a double play. The Braves turned a moment ago to force the game to inning number 6.
That was a beaut.
Well, the top 3 hitters are coming up against Alvarez. Eric Young, Chase Peterson, Nick Markakis. Wise pulled the ball to the right side twice. He's 0 for 2.
Eric had a good spring, earned his spot on the ball club with his play, especially his ability to get on base and score runs.
Line drive to center. Ozuna can't hang on. Ball's behind him. He can't find it. Young on his way to second. Throw is hurried, and Young slides in safely.
That was great. A great picture. Ozuna made this great effort. He thought he caught it. He's holding it up to the umpire. All the while, Eric Young is flying around first. I got it. I got it. See? What? It wasn't until the umpire waved safe that he looked in his glove.
So Eric Young Jr. credits it with a leadoff double. And now let's see if Peterson. Here's a chance for some ABC baseball.
Yep.
Got to get him to third base at the very least. Marlins pinch in at the corners, thinking he might bunt. He does, and it's a beauty. Only one play, it's to first, and Peterson with a sacrifice gets Young to third for Markakis.
Well done. And Braves fans, get used to it. These guys are going to play, as Chip said, ABC baseball a lot more than you've seen in the last several years. And if they're good at it, if they're consistent and execute, they will score enough runs to win. On a nightly basis, they're not going to pound out 8 or 9 runs, more than likely. But with the pitching staff, they've got a good chance to win a lot of games, close games.
Infield in from Markakis, who becomes the key man in the inning. Last time I checked, to put a W up, you only have to have one more than the other guys.
That's right. But here's that situation I mentioned when we were having our opening comments. The Braves were last in baseball last year in sacrifice flies at 27. The next lowest, Pittsburgh, had 35.
That doesn't sound like a lot, but 8 runs might have won 8 more games for the Braves. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the dirt, good stop, Saltalamacchia. Here are the numbers Joe was talking about. last in sac flies, 3 from the bottom in bunt hits, and 3 from the bottom in plate appearances and strikeouts. Not a combination to score a lot of runs. The Braves didn't. They were 14th in the league in runs. Bouncing ball right at Gordon. Contact plays on. Played safe. Young beat the wrap. How about that? Speed never slumps, and the Braves steal a run here in the 6th.
I'm telling you, this is going to be fun to watch. Put pressure on the defense. Contact play is right, Chip. That means Eric Young is getting a walking lead down the third baseline, and any contact he's going. Down the line, contact broke. Dee Gordon made a nice play and a nice throw. But Eric Young got under the tag.
Mike Redmond was a step or two onto the warning track, thinking he might want to challenge the call. He didn't. And the Braves have their second lead of the day.
High tag, looked like right on his back pocket. Yep, even on the back. Good call.
So Atlanta 2, Miami 1. Runner at first for Freeman. Markakis with a 2 RBI day in his Braves debut. Not too shabby. One ball, no strikes for Freddie. A leadoff double, a hustle double, a sacrifice bunt. And on contact, Young sprinted home with a go-ahead run.
And he got the ground ball he wanted with the infield in. This wasn't enough. This guy last year had a 2.5 to 1 ground ball to fly ball ratio. That was the 3rd best in the major leagues. And he's off to a great start in that category this year.
Braves have 3 flyouts in the game. That's it. No strikeouts to this point. It's Freddie. Stays alive. So with 2 strikes, let's see what the Braves first baseman will do. A little shift on for him. Prado way off the line at third base. Echeverria almost behind the second base bag at short. Pitched him away and he took it. 2-2.
You know, this shift right here I'm not sure what it accomplishes, because you got the first baseman anchored at first holding the runner on, so you've got this gigantic hole. If you're going to shift, then go over there with Gordon and plug up the hole and bring Echeverria over on the right side of the bag.
So Alvarez missed with a couple in a row, and he's got a full count. See if Markakis does some running here.
I would guess he will.
He's going. Freeman swinging a miss. Saltalamacchia double clutch. And Markakis hit with the throw, and he's in safely. So Freeman is the first strikeout victim of the day. But Markakis with a steal. He's in scoring position with 2 outs and Christian Bethancourt.
Good crossover step. He made sure he didn't get picked off. That's why he was looking over his shoulder. But what a first game for Nick Markakis. A hit, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base. And only in the 6th inning.
And not bad for a guy that only had 25 at bats in the spring. Wouldn't know it today. Let's see if Bethancourt can add to the lead with a 2-out hit. He's bounced out to Martin Prado twice. 0-1. Christian's already had a good day behind the plate. He's thrown out Dee Gordon trying to steal. Sharply hit. Echeverria handled the hop. And the throw to first in time. Boy, the Braves manufactured another run. It was fun to watch. A leadoff double, a sacrifice, and on contact, EY scores to make it 2-1. Well, 24 hours ago, I don't think there was anyone in the world who thought that Jason Grilli would be the man closing games for the Atlanta Braves. But Craig Kimbrel is now a Padre. Grilli's got the ball with a one-run lead. And, Jen, there is a Grilli-Kimbrel connection beyond that unique situation, is there not?
Yeah, a little one at least. Last night I saw Craig Kimbrel come back to the team hotel. Traffic. He couldn't get to the airport. And the last guy I saw him give a hug to was Jason Grilli. So who knows, maybe a little bit of a passing of the torch there. Certainly Braves fans hope Grilli can fill those very big shoes left by Kimbrel.
And he's got Giancarlo Stanton to start the ninth. And ball one high.
Like Johnson, he throws hard. Still averaging better than a strikeout per inning pitched over the last 3 years. Part of that big renaissance of the Pittsburgh Pirates 2 years ago. Got him to the postseason for the first time since '92. And he's got to be amped up.
Last year, the Braves played 53 one-run games. They won 25 of them. Marlins played 64 one-run games and won 35 of those.
That was the most by anybody.
Ripped off Bethencourt's equipment. Stanton was trying to hit it through the sculpture, and he just missed. 2 balls and a strike.
Pretty much said they're 2-0. Here it is.
Sent off target. 3 balls and a strike. Stanton, Morse, and Prado for the Marlins in the ninth.
He did not walk a batter this spring. Got a little help there.
That's where the Braves have gone to get Stanton today. He's not had much luck with that high fastball. Would he dare go there again?
No walks, 11 strikeouts for Grilli in spring training in 8 innings.
He struck him out. Grilli got Stanton. What a rally for Jason. One away.
There's no question how Jason Grilli feels when he's on the mound. He lets you know. Very intense, tough competitor. Been here before.
But another big home run threat in the box in Michael Morse. Breaking ball for a strike.
Great call by Bethencourt. All those fastballs to Stanton. Morse is sitting over there watching that, and they start him with a front door breaking ball.
.95 and right on by. 0-2.
Dad pitched in the big leagues, had a very good career. Steve Grilli.
I remember too, Jason was a Marlin a long time ago.
Briefly.
2000 and 2001. play foul. He is a real baseball vagabond. He's pitched to Calgary, the White Sox, the Tigers, the Rockies, Texas. He's been just about everywhere you can pitch.
But you look at his career, Chip, and when he missed all of the 2010 season with elbow surgery, it's like that resurrected him. That's when he really began to find his mark and become who he is today.
Morse went around on a breaking ball, and Grilli is struck out. Stanton and Morse, and the Braves are an out away.
One big out to get.
Prado's had a good day, as has Ozuna, who's on deck. They have 4 of the Marlins' 8 hits combined.
Another breaking ball couldn't stop his swing. Tell you what, this fastball, you can understand why he's been talking about Grilli cheese. Because there's some queso being run up there.
Yes, there is. No balls and a strike. Braves Live coming up next, hopefully. Grilli takes care of Martin Prado. Right there for strike 2.
Kind of pitch he wants to use here. 0-2 if they want to waste one.
Line to second, and the Braves have won it. Jason Grilli saves it for Julio Teheran, and the Braves, with this ABC brand of baseball, win the 2015 opener in Miami by a final score of 2-1. Just how the Braves scripted it. That's exactly the way they played today.
Well, and he did waste one upstairs, but still Martin hit it hard. But the way they scored today, the way they played defense with 2 big double plays, and the 2 guys at the end of the game that were under the microscope, especially Johnson and Grilli, do their job and get everybody out that they faced and look good doing it.
Braves beat the Marlins. 2-1 is your final. We're off and running in 2015. Good ball game today. We'll recap it for you in a minute.